Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your mans. Let's get into the video, bro. Welcome to the channel. Like and subscribe, do all that crap. Look, here's the question of today. Can Isshiki be revived? Alright, look, I'm not gonna waste your time with it. Can Isshiki be resurrected? That's the question I have for today's video. That's what we're talking about. And I'm basically gonna go through all the information that I understand and all the information I believe we have, and I'm going to formulate my answer, and I'm curious to see what you guys think about it in the comment section below. Now here's the thing with Isshiki and his resurrection. Look, after his defeat by the hands of Naruto, Kawaki, and Amado, Isshiki's soul is stated to have been extinguished, right? If you Google the meaning of extinguish, it means to put an end to. Sometimes it even means annihilate. And as a result, Isshiki can no longer be resurrected by ways of the karma, since his soul was, well, annihilated. Now, look, I purposefully word it that way, like ways of the karma, because like what if there are other ways, what if there are other means, other methods that the Otsutsukis can take to successfully resurrect or revive themselves without using karma? Like, are there other ways we've seen Otsutsukis come back to life? Because we know one thing the Otsutsuki is famous for, it's clinging to their lifespans, it's craving immortality. Momoshiki's done some out-of-pocket stuff just to stay alive, and he's given up his resurrection. So, in order to investigate this properly, let's take a closer look at Isshiki's death and what actually happens with Code. Now, despite being incompatible for the real karma, Code and Isshiki are still linked in some way by the white karma, okay? Look, although the white karma is incapable of resurrecting Isshiki proper, it doesn't function as Isshiki's anchor to the world of the living, just like how Boruto's does for Momoshiki, and literally it's described as a dud by Momoshiki. Code is still able to access Isshiki's boatloads of massive power and tap into his knowledge and battle experiences through true essence of karma. Now, more important than that though, Code's white karma was capable of summoning Isshiki's soul to it, okay? So, while it is true that the white karma is a dud that can't even absorb chakra, it doesn't even function as an anchor. It doesn't even hold Isshiki's soul or anything. But it did, however, function as some sort of antenna or some sort of beacon capable of summoning Isshiki's soul to it, alright? Now, while it may not be like a perfect connection like the true karma, the fact that this white karma was capable of acting as a beacon or something to begin with, capable of calling out Isshiki's soul and summoning it to Code's location when Isshiki died, it speaks volumes, right? And Code's ability to utilize the true essence, to me, at least proves that him and Isshiki have some sort of link or some sort of connection, right? Now, we know Code's not technically Otsutsuki right now, but that doesn't deny the fact that they are linked in some way. Now, let's take that a step further. What did Isshiki ask Code to do when they talked, right? When Isshiki died and he was summoned to Code's location, what did he ask him to do? He specifically asked for three things, or I guess he didn't really ask, he kind of told him. So here's the thing, because you got to remember, Code is Isshiki's most loyal follower. He literally worships Isshiki, like Isshiki's his deity. So Isshiki told him, first, I need you to avenge me, alright? Avenge me, I need vengeance. The second thing was, take the 10 tails. I want you to go wreck shit, okay? Take the 10 tails. The third thing, he needs to carry out the Otsutsuki will, bro. I need you to go out there and become a god. That's literally what Isshiki told him to do. So let's break all that down, okay? The first thing, vengeance. He wanted him to avenge me, is how he said it. Literally, revenge makes a lot of sense when you consider Isshiki was just defeated by beings he perceives as lower life forms. Like, literally, he was defeated by Kawaki of all people. So him sending out like his most loyal follower to go on this like final vengeance mission. It doesn't seem too out of ordinary or too far-fetched. I don't really think we need to look too deep into that, right? But the second thing is where things start to get a little spicy, because he's like, then you're gonna take the 10 tails. So like Isshiki wants Code to unleash the 10 tails onto the world, which is synonymous with the end of the world, right? That's the same thing as ending the world, because when the 10 tails is unleashed, it'll cultivate itself into a divine tree, and then eventually that divine tree will devour all of the planet's chakra. So that's like world domination, right? Classic bad guy stuff. Nothing special about that, right? We'll see. But the third thing, the whole Otsutsuki will, what does that mean? So here's where things start to fall apart just a little bit for me, because if we break down what Code's actually being asked to do here, things don't really add up, alright? So the tasks that Code is given require that he needs to feed an Otsutsuki to the 10 tails. He's told, feed either Boruto or Kawaki to the 10 tails. That's step 1. Then, when he cultivates the divine tree, he needs to eat the chakra fruit, right? That's step 2. And then after he's done those two things, right, he needs to rinse and repeat those first processes on every other planet in the cosmos, right? He needs to cultivate a divine tree, destroy that planet, eat the chakra fruit, find another planet, rinse and repeat, until he eventually becomes this peerless god, right? He's literally like a god. Like, that's what Isshiki wants for Code, which I think is strange. Why would Isshiki want Code to be this peerless being and not himself, right? But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, this whole, like, godhood ploy, this is where I see the deception in Isshiki's plan, right? He wants Code to feed Boruto to the 10 tails, right? Or feed Kawaki, which basically means Code needs an Otsutsuki, like, which is problematic. Like, he needs an Otsutsuki as a resource for this plan. But I'll point out why that's actually problematic later on. He also needs to cultivate the divine tree and then eat the chakra fruit, okay? My problem here is I don't even think Code can eat the fruit of the divine tree, right? Even though Code is linked to Isshiki by the white karma. Like, we set that up, right? We already know that they are connected somehow by the white karma. Code, however, is not considered Otsutsuki. Now, this is shown most clearly through his interactions with Ida, because he obviously fell in love with her, which means Code hasn't undergone any sorts of Otsutsukification. Now, why is that important? That's super important, because according to Orochimaru's research on the God Tree, the fruit of the divine tree is not designed to be eaten by ordinary people, right? Only an Otsutsuki would be capable of eating the God tree, or eating the God fruit, okay? In fact, the divine tree is known to actually attack and completely drain people of their chakra and life energy if they get too close to it. So literally, the God tree is hostile to non-Otsutsuki, okay? So wait a second. If Code isn't Otsutsuki, and he can't actually eat the fruit, then like, why would Isshiki ask Code, can you carry out the will of the Otsutsuki? Now, before I go there, even if Code could eat the God fruit, right? Like let's just bite that one down. Like, so yeah, he can eat it, it's whatever. Where is Code gonna find new Otsutsuki after he feeds Boruto and Kawaki, right? That at most gives him 2, because Isshiki's plan is for Code to become this peerless being by eating god fruits from multiple planets throughout the entirety of the cosmos, right? How does he do that? Or at least how does he go about doing that when at max he'd be able to cultivate 2 divine chakra fruits, right? Because you gotta remember, Isshiki's instructions were feed an Otsutsuki to the 10 tails. So if we're not counting any mystery Otsutsukis that might be out there, all Code knows about is Boruto and Kawaki, which limits him to 2. So at best, right, at best, Code can cultivate 2 chakra fruits at best, right? That's the best he'd be able to accomplish. Also, there's a good chance, right, Code just isn't Otsutsuki enough to even eat the chakra fruit, let alone approach the divine tree. So based on these factors, right, I feel like it's justifiable if we ask the question, can Code even eat the chakra fruit to begin with? And if that's the case, wouldn't Isshiki be aware of such a thing being a problem? And then if that's true, then what is Isshiki really planning, alright? Because all the information that I've just laid out, it's super important because I kind of think the answer lies within those details, alright? Let's take a step back, let's focus on the Ten Tails. This new Ten Tails that's been introduced in Boruto, as well as the new lore on the Ten Tails that we get from Amado, right? Amado makes it clear that this version of the Ten Tails is a different variant than the one from the Fourth Great Ninja War, right? Amado goes on to explain even that this Ten Tails is referred to as the seed of the divine tree, right? And that the Otsutsuki are actually just alien parasites that go around planting these ten-tailed seedlings onto planets in order to consume the planet's chakra. Now, as crazy as that is, we're also told the only way you can actually acquire the chakra fruit is to feed the Ten Tails in Otsutsuki. Now this is the problem, right? Most people view this as a retcon to what we were taught before, right? It contradicts what previously was established with Kaguya. Kaguya, what? Crazy, I know. But look, there's actually one more thing, right? The God Tree was used for more than just the chakra fruit, right? The God Tree was used mainly... Alright, hang on, before I get ahead of myself. This is the main reason why I'm actually making this whole video, alright? And to be fair, it's not completely concrete or anything, and at the end of the day, it is kind of just speculation and theory, but I feel like it makes sense, okay? Because according to my interpretation, alright, and my understanding of how things played out, right? Kaguya's resurrection in the Fourth Great Ninja War was entirely dependent on the fact that Madara had absorbed the God Tree, so the Ten Tails was necessary, right? And Black Zetsu, right? I definitely think those things are key factors for Kaguya being resurrected, because that's how it happened, right? Now, for the first thing, right? The Divine Tree, right? We can think of the Divine Tree as like the final form of the Ten Tails, right? We know that Kaguya is directly linked or tied to the Divine Tree thanks to Hagoromo. Like, we literally know Kaguya and Hagoromo fought, and Kaguya weaponized and even merged with the Divine Tree when they did. On top of that, though, when we see Madara in his Ten Tails Jinchuriki state, right, he's fighting against Naruto and them, he hears Kaguya's voice tell him to absorb the God Tree. If you want more power, absorb the God Tree. That's literally what happened. So it's almost as if Kaguya is the God Tree, right? Like, she is, like, part of her is the God Tree. Like, that's our understanding of it, right? And the second thing, look, we have to look at Black Zetsu, okay? Black Zetsu was the trigger. He was the catalyst that kicked off the transformation, right? In many ways, Black Zetsu was Kaguya's karma. Now, not in the literal sense, okay? Black Zetsu didn't give Madara a karma or anything, so it wasn't in the literal sense. But Black Zetsu and his primary function at the end of the day was to revive Kaguya, alright? However, Black Zetsu didn't have any direct means to achieve this, which is why he had to unfortunately and ultimately go around this long roundabout way in order to create the conditions necessary to set up and facilitate Kaguya's resurrection, which means he revived an Otsutsuki without a karma seal. Alright, so let's go over that one actually, okay? Kaguya's entire relationship with the Ten Tails is actually extremely interesting. Because, like, back when the Divine Tree is said to have first fallen from the heavens and struck the earth, right? Kaguya is described as chasing after it, since Kaguya is noted descending from the sky soon after the Divine Tree hits the earth, right? Now look, I think they're using soon, like, extremely loosely, okay? Because we don't know, like, what the time scale is or anything for the Otsutsuki, but, like, I'm going to be using soon very loosely, because the God Tree is also said to take 1,000 years in order to bear fruit, okay? And Kaguya eventually eats the chakra fruit, gaining its power. And from then on, we would see Kaguya is now actually linked, or at least in control of, the Divine Tree. And we know that to be the case because of Hagoromo's fight against Kaguya. We literally learn that Kaguya is able to weaponize the Divine Tree and on her command, like part of her will, literally transform it into the Ten Tails. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Because that's what we already, that's the old lore, that's what we know, right? So here's the thing. I don't think we should view the new information that Amado gave us on the 10 tails and the god tree and the whole sacrificing and all that crap, I don't think anything Amado gave us should be viewed as a retcon or as a replacement for the previous information we already had. But instead, I think we should view it more as an addition to the information, and it's built to expand the existing lore, right? So instead of us having contradicting information, right, instead of having like, oh, there's this way or there's this way and it was retconned or whatever, I think we just simply now have two different ways, two different methods, two different means to obtaining the chakra fruit, right? You can either A, plant the 10 tails, cultivate the divine tree, and wait 1,000 years, the Kaguya way, or you can B, feed the 10 tails in Otsutsuki, cultivate a divine tree, and then you'll obtain a fruit that way, the Isshiki Amado way, right? Like however you want to designate them. But it's simple as that. Like we can have multiple ways of obtaining a chakra fruit. Even Momoshiki can technically create chakra fruits with his jutsu or whatever. So it's not unheard of, right? But this is important. Why? Look, Black Zetsu in many ways could be seen as like a failed karma, like not too different from where Code is with his white karma. Or perhaps you can look at Black Zetsu as something inferior to the karma, but similar, right? Something that requires all these extra steps like the God Tree and a vessel with the chakra of the Otsutsuki, right? Like literally, because we saw at the end of the day, Black Zetsu's plan worked out. He was able to resurrect Kaguya, and she had no karma. So I ask you again, can Isshiki be resurrected, right? I'll admit, right now, there's a lot of potential for it. Like the potential is there, and it really just hinges on whether or not Isshiki actually shares a link with this new version of the 10 tails, similar to how we saw Kaguya, or something we saw Kaguya achieve in the past, right? And it would also depend on what the actual intended purposes of the white karma is, right? Because it remains highly likely that Code is being manipulated into creating the conditions required for Isshiki to, say, steal a move from Kaguya's playbook, right? As well as it's also very important how you view the new information and the new lore introduced by Amado. Literally, if you view that as it's a retcon, then this doesn't make sense for you. But if you can view it from the point of view as this is additional information and it just adds or supplements the current lore that we have, right, then we have something we can work with. So, are there any other ways, other methods, other means Otsutsuki could take to try to revive themselves without the karma? I think for sure. We've seen it happen before. That's how Naruto ended. But what do you guys think? Can Isshiki be resurrected? Is Isshiki linked to this new 10 tails similar to Kaguya? What about the true purpose of the white karma? Do you think it has any tie-ins or similarities to what Black Zetsu kind of was, right? But anyway, let me know what you guys are thinking in the comment section below. I've been your man's the Grass Ninja. This was a fun one to work on. Peace.